This is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I want to talk about Bitcoin and this key level, the 60,000 point level. I'm currently very high up in the Colorado Rockies. I'm at about 11,000 feet and really suffering from altitude sickness. I'm used to high altitudes, but sleeping at 11,000 feet is very, very high. But just so you know, in case something sounds different about this video, I'm using Starlink, which is absolutely amazing. Kudos to Elon Musk getting download speeds of 155, 156. So with that background, moving on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's really been testing the $60,000 level, and we can't seem to get above it and stay above it for any significant period of time. It's strange how the human mind works, where these big round numbers become points of resistance that are then subsequently points of support. Some of this has to do with people writing options at these big strike prices and some of the pressures involved. But I thought it'd be helpful to go back and look at where we are compared to a similar point in the cycle. So back in 2016 was basically two halvings ago. Bitcoin was trading about $648, and so that day was the halving on July 9th, 2016. 330 days later after the halving, and you'll see in a moment why I picked that number, that was June 4th, 2017, Bitcoin had rallied up to 2530, as often happens in the first 12 to 18 months after the halving of the miner's reward. So that's about a 3.9x from the closing price on the halving. Now, we had the most recent halving on May 11th, 2020. It was about 85.72, the price of Bitcoin. Right now, we're 330 days later, so you can see why I picked that number. We're at about 58,603 as I'm recording this. So you can see that this cycle has already been much, much stronger, almost not quite twice as strong. But it's been a much smoother rally as well. We can see that the 50-day moving average has acted as very, very good support. It's been very difficult for Bitcoin to go below that. By contrast, the previous cycle was a little bit more volatile, as we will see. So if we go back and take a look at that, the halving was on July 2016, which is really way back here, and then 330 days after that was June 4th, 2017. So let's take a look at that. It's approximately right here when Bitcoin was at the price of 2530. It subsequently rallied up to 3,000. Let me see if I can adjust the scale here. It basically tried to get above 3,000. It failed, was rejected, and actually crashed down below 2,000. So you can see how much more volatile Bitcoin was in the previous halving cycle. The moving average, as we said, the 50-day moving average, which is this blue line, did not serve as nearly good support. But then when it recovered, it spent some time chopping sideways right below 3,000 on the price of Bitcoin. And I find that price action fairly similar to this sideways action that we are having now. And then something very special happened on August 5th, 2017. So it was a few months, call it 2 months after that June 4th date. We had a very, very strong candlestick. And this really initiated the subsequent final bull run for that cycle. We managed to close above 3,000 for the first time, really definitively. And from there on, it was off to the races. We did get one sell-off after that. I don't know if you guys can see it right here, where 3,000 began to act as support. But then we really exploded much higher once we were able to surmount that very large round number. And I think what we're seeing here with the 60,000 level is very similar. People often have observed that the lows of the next bear market are close to 2 to 3x the highs of the previous bear market, and the highs of the previous bull market. So the lows of the next bear market are about 2 to 3x the highs of the previous bull market, which the highs of the previous bull market were obviously at 20,000. And so that puts us very close to this area for the subsequent retest. If there is one, there's a chance that we enter into a Bitcoin supercycle and we never come anywhere back down here. But if we were to come back down here, this level of 60,000, I would suspect, would be the lows. So slightly above where we're trading today would be the actual lows of the next bull cycle. And what this means is you're never going to see 60,000 again. Maybe we get a retest of it in a couple of years. I think it's highly unlikely. I think Bitcoin actually, the strength of this cycle is very evident by the fact that the returns have been much smoother and the returns have been much higher. So I think it's very unlikely. But I think what we're seeing here is something that's analogous to the fight that was going on between buyers and sellers around 3,000 in the previous cycle. And today this fight is happening at 60,000. And once we get a firm close above it, it looks like we almost got one on March 13th. And then we had a sell-off from there. But once we have a definitive close above there, I would expect that we would never, ever again see the 50s, the 50,000s in Bitcoin. And it's quite unlikely we don't see the 60,000s. But if this pattern holds, the lows of the next cycle will actually be above where we are trading right now. So something to consider in terms of your long-term hodling strategy. I think Bitcoin is really because of the institutional adoption. And this cycle is very, very different. We don't need to sell our Bitcoin in order to take profits and use the money. There are a lot more Bitcoin loan services. Combined with, as I said, the institutional flows means that this is a much stronger bull market than 2017. And it's also much smoother. And the chances that we get a very deep bear market, it's something I'll talk more about in a later video. I think they're very small. But either way, I think the 60,000 level really is analogous to 3,000 back in 2016 and 2017. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be feeling a little bit better, a little less altitude sickness, and I'll be able to make a little bit longer video. But for now, hope you enjoy this video, and I hope I'm able to upload it as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.